What is sin? That's what we're going to be talking about today. So, sin is something that is purely from this human experience at a soul level. It's not a real thing. But what sin is, well, let me tell you this. So, when Jesus would heal people, he would heal them, and then he would say, "Now go and sin no more." So what was he referring to? So when I help heal my clients from physical ailments, things like that, what we're doing is we're working on the sin behind the reason why that physical ailment has presented itself and is being carried in that person's energetic system. And it all has to do with thought, with thinking. Our thoughts are made, they're the exact same energy as your world is created of, the exact same energy. Okay, let's get deep here. So have you guys seen that Dr. Emoto's water experiment? If you have not, take a minute, go look it up real quick. What it is an experiment where they held intention, and intention is just thought, over water. So this would be like, an example would be like praying over water, right? Putting like a goodness into it, whatever it happens to be. So they put in different intentions into the water, and then they examined it and to see if there was a change, if something happened in this water. And of course there was. So in the water that they put in love, and that they put in truth, and they put in, these beautiful high alignment with the divine intentions into it, thought into it, it was beautiful. It was actually visibly beautiful. Then they took the water where they put hate or resentment or guilt, shame, all the low vibe thoughts, and they put that into the water, and it was very distorted. It was ugly. You could tell that it didn't look healthy. That's a good example. It didn't look healthy. If you were to compare the beautiful water next to the other one, it looked unhealthy. So we are almost all water, right? Us as people, we're almost all water. So your thoughts, like this experiment was done purely with thought, intention, putting it into that water, and that water held that frequency, that vibration. So when you think things, sinning, when you sin, you are carrying a lower vibration within your physical body. So what happens here? So my example is going to be frustration. Let's say that you are really frustrated with maybe someone in your life, some situation in your life. Think about the amount of times that feeling of frustration comes up throughout your day. Several, I'm going to guess. And then think about how many times that you might speak about it. If you're frustrated about someone else, how often are you speaking about it to someone else or to that person? How often is this happening? Now, what is occurring when this is going on, when you're carrying that lower vibration through your thought, is that you are affecting your body. So how I work with my clients, I'm a hypnotherapist, how I work with my clients, and I've done this exact technique for years and years and years and years, and it is like magical. So I have them in a subconscious state, in the theta state. So your brain waves are just cycling a little slower than usual. You go in and out of this state several times throughout a normal day. When you're driving down the highway, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm here. I don't even remember passing this place or that place. Happens to everybody, right? You have slipped into what is called highway hypnosis, meaning your brain has slipped into theta state. So I induce this state in my office or through Zoom. I do clients worldwide. And so we induce this state, and then I have you bring up, so let's say that we're working with a physical ailment. Let's say you have a sore shoulder, and this shoulder's been aching. It's been sore forever, and it's causing you problems and grief and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, I'm going to have you bring up how that shoulder makes you feel, not physically, but how having that ailment makes you feel emotionally. So it will be different for every person. For some people, it might be, oh, well, this is very frustrating. I want to be able to do this. Ooh, it makes me feel very old, or it makes me feel whatever it happens to be. Everyone will have their own feeling around it. So what I'm going to do with you is we're going to follow that feeling back, because you physically store that in your energetic system of your body. You are physically storing your thoughts in your energy field. This is why, if let's say that your shoulder is starting to break down or something like that, and the emotion that's around it is frustration or resentment or guilt or grief or sadness, whatever it happens to be, I'll have you bring it up, and I'll say, where are you feeling this physically in your body? And in a session, you will be attuned to your body. You will know. People are like, oh, I'm carrying it in my right pointer finger, in my left temple, in my jaw, in my wherever. They're real specific, and there may be several places that we hold these things in. There might just be one. It depends completely on the person. And we don't all store the exact same emotions in the exact same places. So there's no real guidebook, other than there's a real good guidebook called The Secret Language of Your Body by Inna Segal, but it has quite the write-up in it. So each one will have a paragraph of here's your physical ailment, it's in your arm. Well, it'll tell you what arms mean. And you'll be able to kind of look in there and be like, ooh, yeah, that pertains to me, that pertains to me, that pertains to me. So all of these things might be like holding on to grief or sadness from a relationship, holding on to resentment from this, not feeling good enough, being undermined, whatever it happens to be. There's a million different things that it could potentially be. And so all of these things are sin, because they are not in alignment with the divine, and what they are doing to you is harming you. Okay, so what we do in a session, I get you into theta state, I have you bring up the feeling, and the example I said was frustration. So let's follow that feeling of frustration, that person's maybe holding in their shoulder back. Maybe they're holding it as a disease in their body. Whatever it happens to be, doesn't matter. So we're going to follow this back. We're going to heal this, because this is the sin. This is why Jesus would heal people, and then he would say, no, go and sin no more. Because if they kept up with that same thought pattern, which leads to words and actions, if they kept it up, then he could heal them all day long, but that ailment will come back. Because every time that you allow yourself to indulge in those lower frequencies, those low vibes, through that sin, I'm air quoting here, what you're doing is depleting the vital life force energy that is meant to be in whatever part of your body that it's connected to, and you're depleting. And so over time, okay, well, maybe you start out with the sore shoulder, and then pretty soon, then maybe there's an injury, and then pretty soon maybe there's something else, if you continue along the same line of thinking that you began with. So Jesus would heal the people, and, well, first of all, before he healed anyone, what he was doing was he was teaching people about exactly what I'm telling you right now. He was teaching people that it is through their thoughts, through their beliefs. This is why he was so huge on the beliefs, because all you're seeing in your visible reality is a manifestation of the beliefs that your consciousness hold. The beliefs that your consciousness hold are projected out, manifested out into the world, and returned back to you through electromagnetism. It is an unavoidable law of cause and effect. Jesus called it reaping and sowing. And he would give examples that were related to the people 2,000 years ago. He'd talk about, planting seeds in this ground, and what happens when you do that, and then what if we plant the seeds in this ground? You reap as you sow. He had to speak in parables, because this is 2,000 years ago. They didn't know about cells. They didn't know about electromagnetism. They didn't know about these things. So he had to turn to the countryside and give examples in nature of what he was speaking about. You reap as you sow. So whatever seeds you're sowing, whatever thoughts, actions, words, whatever things you're speaking out and creating, is returned back to you. So people who say, that's too expensive, I don't have enough money for this. What are you doing through those words? You're speaking, you're creating that in the consciousness, you're reinforcing it, you're speaking it out, and then proof will come back to you of that belief that you're holding within you, and you won't have enough. But when you speak, when you create differently, because our world is created of the exact same energy as our thoughts, as the same as our consciousness, when you speak and you create differently, without any doubt, when you're putting out the high vibe, in alignment with the divine energy, when you're speaking your words, you are creating wonderful things for yourself when you're in alignment with the divine. So sin is, it is something really that we are doing to ourselves. So if I'm working with a client, let's say that they're holding a disease in their body, and they've had it for a long time. Well, what am I going to do? First of all, we're going to detect the reason why it's there. What sin, meaning what line of thinking is not in alignment with the divine? Because whatever thinking was not in alignment with the divine will harm you in some way. Whether it just makes you feel like you're not good enough or valuable or important or whichever makes you feel like you don't belong, whatever it happens to be. Whatever is out of alignment with the divine will cause you suffering in some way. And when we allow ourselves repetitively to indulge in these sins, in these frustrations, in these resentments, in these hateful, jealous thoughts, in criticisms, in complaining, all of these things, these resentments, these are all out of alignment with the divine. Therefore, they are sin, and they will cause you to suffer in some way. But I'm telling you, there is no punishment that is going to come from a God on high. No. The universe has been created for you. This is a wonderful thing. Because when you get in alignment, when you heal that quote-unquote sin that you are experiencing, when you heal it, when you grow, when you learn, and you stop indulging in that, the only thing that you're creating is love. And this is in alignment with the divine. And this is how we create heaven on earth, is through getting rid of those lower vibrational frequencies, the sin, quote unquote, and leveling up and connecting with the divine love that exists within every single thing, including every cell of your body. So here's the trick to it. So if somebody comes in, first off, we're dealing with their sin, whatever they're holding within their body, whatever has caused their ailment in the first place. So healing this is going to remove this from the body, unless there is a belief there that would be blocking that from happening, like believing this is impossible or whatever happens to be. So I'm going to work with somebody. We're going to deal with that so that in the future here, you don't allow this to come back in your body, because you're going to remember, no, that is not in alignment. I don't want that. I'm feeling totally amazing. I'm disease free. My body feels amazing. Why would I ever allow myself to indulge in those low frequency, sinful thoughts again? Well, you wouldn't, if you're learning. And so we'll do a couple sessions for that. And then I'm going to speak the divine word for you, which the divine word is going to allow you to see that it has been you that has allowed this ailment, this physical dis-ease or ailment or injury or soreness or whatever it is. It has been you that has allowed it to be present in your life by being present in your consciousness. And by speaking the divine word, whatever we have to do, whatever needs to be spoken to that person, the divine will speak the word through me. I don't even remember what's spoken during this time, typically. The divine will speak the word through me, and it will allow this person to become free of whatever disease or ailment, physical ailment, that they have been feeling, experiencing in their body. So when we're talking about sin, it is not punishment from God on high. So when you go out and you do something to somebody else, maybe you feel guilty about it, maybe you feel shameful about it. This is part of your own reaping and sowing. This is your punishment. Whatever you fear, want, or have done to others will be returned back to you. So we look at this as punishment. But what is punishment except for evil doing under the guise of goodness? So there is not some God that is punishing us, because God is only love. The divine is only love and can be nothing other than what the divine is, which is love. But this love has set up certain laws in the universe, cause and effect, so that we are protected when we are in divine alignment from anything that could potentially harm us. Because what we are putting out is returned back to us. So when we give as the angels give, and we give with a loving thought, and we give love, and we give goodness out into the world, that love and that goodness is returned back to us. Now you might say, I know this person and they're so nice and they do all these things and all these bad things happen to them and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, there's maybe a few reasons. You don't know what people are thinking in their head. You don't know that they might have all these toxic thoughts that they're giving out. Let's say that they're giving, but they're not giving with a pure heart, that they're giving and they're thinking, I just keep giving. Nobody ever gives back to me. Think about the vibe, the frequency that is carried within that. That is what's going to be returned to them. Or maybe this person is kind and they're very giving, but their thoughts are very toxic and they don't show this outwardly, so you don't know. Or maybe this person is very kind and very giving, but something has happened. Maybe they have some kind of past trauma, and so they believe that they're not valuable, important, or worthy or deserving of goodness returning back to them, and therefore it doesn't. All we are seeing is our beliefs made manifest constantly. This is what makes up the visible matter in our world, in our reality. All it is belief made visible. Consciousness made visible. So if somebody has a very unfortunate life, they are doing this to themselves. They're doing it out of fear. They're maybe so afraid that this terrible thing is going to happen. Think about that frequency of fear and afraid and projecting that out. Through electromagnetism, your thoughts are electric, and through the magnetism, it's returned back to you exactly in the same frequency that you sent it out. So if you're sending out a fearful thought, you're going to get back something that's going to make you feel fearful and worried and stressed out. And these things are not in alignment with the divine. These is what I would consider sin. But sin is not real. It is not a real thing. All you are seeing is the law of cause and effect in action. So when you can cleanse your mind and let go of the fears from the past, and you can get into actual divine alignment, meaning that the thoughts that you are sending out are loving, caring thoughts filled with kindness, compassion, gentleness, and love. And when you expect, you need to expect, because expectation is belief. It's a belief. When you're expecting something, it's because there's a belief that's attached to it. When you expect goodness to be returned back to you because you are putting goodness out there, when you expect love to be returned back to you because you're putting love out there, your expectations will be realized and they will come into fruition in your actual reality. But when you're sending out things that are low vibrational, you're going to have returned to you things that are low vibrational. What you do to others will come back to you. So you can't escape it. And there's not some God that's going to come down and smite you and throw you in hell for the rest of eternity. No. we punish ourselves. And if you happen to die before you have reaped your karma in this life, well, guess what? You get to come back and you're going to deal with that karma again in another life. Our thoughts are the most powerful things around because these thoughts are attached to belief. And whatever belief is underlying there, it will cloud and color and permeate our thoughts, which then in turn leads to us speaking out words that are in alignment with those thoughts, which then leads to actions which are in alignment with those words. So here's my hot tip for today about sinning. Let's talk about complaining and criticizing. If you've been complaining and criticizing, think about the vibration that carries. The universe does not know that you don't want this. It just knows what it is that you're sending out. It knows that frequency. And through magnetism, it goes out, and then that same frequency comes back to you. So when you're complaining and you're criticizing, the universe goes, oh, they like it. They want to complain and criticize. So here's some things to complain and criticize about. Here's more things. And the more that you do it, the more things there are to complain and criticize. Now here's the stickiness of it, is that if you're complaining or criticizing other people, that damage that you are doing to other people telepathically, you will have it returned back to you at some point. So we can't escape what it is that we do. So our sin is not something or other that they're telling us that it is in the Bible that is equal to punishment for all eternity and eternal hell damnation and all of the things. No. It is something, if your life is chaotic, if your life is destructive, if it's not great, you've done this to yourself. You created it. Examine your thoughts, examine your words, examine your actions, and change them. Now, when you realize this on a deep, deep level, and you become so aware of this, like, wow, yeah, this is true. I guess this does pertain to me. All these things that these people have done to me, or these things that I've thought, I've either wanted them, feared them, or done it to somebody else. When you realize this and you realize it on a real deep level, then you can change it for good. And you can just start sending out the goodness, because that goodness through electromagnetism is returned to you. And it might take a bit of time. You know, if you've been putting out whatever you've been putting out there all willy-nilly, completely unaware of yourself, completely unaware of what it is that you've been doing, you could do this for a lifetime, right? And so all those things that you put out there, you're going to reap what you've sown at some point. But if you were to change them like today, right now, and just think, no, I'm only putting goodness out there. I'm only putting goodness out there. All the people that are frustrating me, the people that are my enemies, I'm going to shower them in heavenly love. And if you could genuinely do this from a real good place inside of your heart, and you could really do this, you would see things transform for you very quickly. There would be things that would fall away out of your life that you don't need. I mean, these are decisions you have to make, but they would just naturally present themselves for you to let them go, so that you can make energy for the new wonderful things that are coming into your life. So sinning is not some punishment. You're not going to get punished from some God on high. You are punishing yourself constantly, moment by moment, anytime that you are thinking, speaking, or acting out of alignment with the divine. There will be consequences that come into your life that don't feel like you're in alignment with the divine, because you're not. So if you want to feel like you're in alignment and you want to help and be a part of this creating heaven on earth, creating an era of peace and love, and our every loving thought is a transforming influence on this planet. If you want to be a part of this, then the very first thing to do is examine your thoughts. Heal your past. Check out the Mental Cleanse series that I have on here. It is free. Basically, it's like you're attending a free group hypnotherapy sessions with me, and work through your things yourself so that you can clear out your energetic system, so that you can be more light-bodied. You are actually becoming more light-bodied when you let go of these heavy, dense energies, these traumas from the past, because we carry them in our energetic system. And when you let go of them and you become more light-bodied, you become more in alignment with the divine. So it becomes easier and easier to rapidly see your manifestations that are good, in a positive, good way, coming into your life, into your world. So that's what I got for you guys here today. Thank you for listening, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good day.